Well, another experience that you have talked about in conference, but we just love to go back to, is the experience that you had with Elder Scott when the two of you went out in a canoe. And we've got a clip of this from one of your messages that you gave at conference, and we'd like to listen to that for just a minute.
2 years ago, Elder Richard G. Scott of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles and I had the opportunity to go on a canoe trip into the Quetico Wilderness area in Ontario, Canada, portaging from lake to lake. As we reached the halfway point across one of the larger lakes, the weather turned very bad, and the once tranquil water turned angry and perilous, tossing our little canoe to and fro. We had a decision to make. Do we try to reach our planned destination, or do we head for the nearest island and wait for the storm to pass? The answer seems obvious now, but at the time it was not an easy decision to make. By carrying on, we might arrive at our planned campsite. By delaying our journey, we would arrive very late and may have to travel in the dark. As we pondered the options, we had the impression to head to the nearest island quickly. As we did so, a much worse than anticipated storm rolled by us. Had we elected to continue canoeing, we would have put our lives in great danger. Here in mortality, we are called upon to make serious decisions, the outcome of which can have a lasting effect upon our spiritual future. I encourage you to always be worthy to seek for the Spirit to help you to always choose the right.
I love that here you and Elder Scott are out in a canoe. This is your rugged outdoors experience yet again. What did you learn from it?
Well, first of all, this was after his wife Janine had passed on.
Okay.
And he'd asked if we could go in someplace and do some kayaking. If Sue would mind, if I spent part of vacation time with him, and she said, you need to go with him. Yeah. Our older son Ben said, Dad, don't the two of you go in kayaks, you two will tip upside down. So we went in those canoes, in a canoe, and it was a choice experience. It was a hard experience because we had a canoe from lake to lake, portage from lake to lake. I had to carry the canoe to each place we went, plus the packs that we had. And it was a wonderful experience, and he said, make sure we take our scriptures and we'll study the scriptures at night out in this setting. But the problem was, bless his heart, and he wouldn't mind my saying this because I've kidded him about it ever since, he tipped us over out in the lake. Everything got wet in his pack. It ruined his camera and it ruined his scriptures, so we didn't do much scripture studying. And Elder Scott is a marvelous swimmer. He loves to swim. He swims just like a dolphin. I've never seen anyone that's a more graceful swimmer than Elder Scott. And every night he would go out swimming. And it was a wonderful experience, and we grew together, we grew close with each other. And when we got back, first thing he did was call my wife from the airport, Sue, and thank her for letting me go.
Oh, sweet.
And I was worried being there, having a member of the 12, and feeling responsible for me, because there's only those apostles and how important they are to the kingdom and to the world. Yeah. And so when he said, that was so much fun, let's go again next year, Ben, okay, you think Sue will care? And I thought, no, she'll be fine. And so we went again the next year, up in the same area, went to some different lakes, had the same kind of experience. And he's just been a dear friend on those canoe trips, has bound us very close together, and I had a lot of wonderful experiences with Elder Scott. He's such a spiritual giant. Yeah. And he has such an insight to the Spirit, and you can just learn so much by being around him how the Spirit works. And then we talked about going again another time, and I thought to myself, I'm not sure I'm up for that again. So I suggested, why don't you let Susan and I take you and your family down to Lake Powell on our houseboat? He said that would be fun. So we took he and many of his family and grandchildren down to Lake Powell with us another year. That was fun too. Yeah. Now he's asked me to go canoeing again next year.